This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
One characteristic of an undisciple is that they're not listening to God. Not listening to God. Verses 46 and 47. Which one of you convicts me of sin? Who are you? Who of you has the right to convict me of sin, is what Jesus was saying. If I tell the truth, why don't you believe me? If I'm telling the truth, why wouldn't you believe me? Whoever is of God hears the word of God. The reason why you don't hear them is that you're not of God. Period. Now, it's pretty much impossible to listen to God if you don't know His voice. But you get to know His voice by spending time with Him. John 10:14 says, I know my own and they know me. Jesus was saying, look, as you spend time with me, there's an intimacy that develops. And I get to know the voice of God. I get to understand when God is speaking to me. And I know that voice. I begin to sense it, and I begin to know that this is God. I can remember, particularly as a really young Christian, I used to think, all right, was that God speaking to me, or was that the devil speaking to me? You know, and I'd go through this whole thing, or was that just me making that up? You know, and you go through that whole thing. You know, we go through that. But as you get intimate with God, and as you get to know Him more and more and more, you become more and more familiar with His voice. So how do you listen to God? Well, there are two ways. First of all, you listen to God through His Word. You have to spend time in His Word. I mean, it's so important. Romans 10:17 says, faith comes from hearing the Word of Christ. In other words, spending time in the Word. Getting to know Christ in the Word. You've heard me say this before, and it's absolutely true. The Bible is Jesus Christ in written form. If you want to get to know God, get into the Bible. Get to know Him. Get to know what He says. He reveals Himself through His Word.
On behalf of Dan Hurst and the Open Class, we want to thank you for watching. We hope it was a blessing.